Hey, it's your boy T Rob. Welcome back to the podcast, Unapologetic Perspective. Um, Once again, we've been watching the numbers with every video that we put out. We're seeing our numbers are going up, our following is going up, and I want to tell everybody I really appreciate the love for the content that we're putting out. This stuff is near and dear to my heart, really. You know, the purpose of this show is to talk about my journey. So, if anything in my journey can help somebody out in their journey in life, that's the purpose of all of the content that I'm putting out. I believe wholeheartedly that I had to go through something in order to have a message for everybody out there who may think that they're alone in the struggle out here and that they've hit a dead end or hit a wall when it comes to trying to figure out what the direction is in life that they need to be going. So once again, like I said, man, I appreciate all the love that you all have shown me by liking and subscribing. If you haven't yet, if you watch my content more than once, if you're getting something from it, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. It helps the algorithm out. As we build, we're going to be putting out better content. I look forward to doing interviews with some of your favorite content creators talking about serious issues. Um, we want to try to address some things within ourselves, and that's the purpose of this. Is talking about what we can do, because we can't change the world. As I've said before, you can only see the world for what it is. The world can upset you, and you can feel like the world needs to change to fit what it is or the narrative that you believe. But at the end of the day, the world is what it is. We want to learn how to navigate within the world so we can have more peace in our souls. The thing about when you have a peaceful inside, it translates or it trickles down to everything else in your life. You'll find that your relationships are much easier. Your finances start to flow much better. Energy is surrounded by everything, right? Anything that we hold on to or put a lot of pressure on, we break. But the minute that we start to bring ourselves into ease and out of dis-ease, right? Let's look at that word, ease and dis-ease, right? Dis-ease being connected to the word disease, as in having something wrong internally. We can look at it in the same way with our mind state. When our minds are in dis-ease, then we start to realize that everything that we want, everything that we try to manifest, we push away from us. That's what these videos are about, and I appreciate the love. Welcome back to the Unapologetic Perspective podcast. Hey, I've been watching the numbers go up week by week, day by day, actually. And I want to say I'm very thankful. I'm humbled, and I'm very thankful for the subscribers that have subscribed to the channel so far. Last I checked, we were at 3,920 subscribers. And it seems like with each video that we put out, we're getting more and more love. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's enjoying the content and hitting that like button and also subscribing to the channel. I do this out of love. I do this because I truly believe in the message that I'm putting out there. And this message I want to be able to share with other people. I used to have conversations. Well, you know, for most of my life, I've had conversations with people one-on-one about what we can do to better ourselves. And I've tried to cultivate an environment around myself of not only trying to reach my goals, but bringing people along with me. I found it's much more easier for me to do content online than to actually do a one-on-one with people, as I'm still working on things in my own life to bring myself to the highest level where I want to be. My goals have kind of shifted away from focusing so much on monetary gain as they are in being in peace with myself, cultivating the mind state of peacefulness and happiness. And as I do that, I actually noticed that my life in business has gotten a lot easier. My life and my relationships with people in my life have gotten a lot easier as I've cultivated myself in a way where I have a more peaceful mind state. I'm more relaxed in business. I'm more relaxed in my relationships. I've kind of curved the ego and put that away, and I quit trying so hard. I got a lot into doing and listening to Buddhism and meditation. And in doing so, I started to take life a little bit more easier. Now it seems like things kind of flow much easier in my life. The things that I want simply seem to come to me. without me trying to force them. I don't put a lot of force behind things anymore as it pertains to anything in my life. Early on, I thought that one of the things that I had to do was kind of drive my kids in the direction that they needed to go. But what I realized is that you don't force people to do anything. They have to come to their own conclusions in their own time. So now I just sit back and observe. I allow my kids to make the mistakes that you have to make in life to get to where it is that you want to be. And I wish them the best. And I send out good energy to them every day. It's the same with this show. I simply put the content out there, and whoever is meant to consume it, they consume it. And I appreciate it. We've been getting a great response, as far as subscribers and likes on the videos, and we're going to keep making content. I think that it's very important for us to have a focus on mental health and mental health issues in the Black community. It's important for us to, as men and as well as women, open up and talk about some of the things that are hindering us and some of the things that are bothering us, some of the challenges that we face in our day-to-day lives. All of our lives, I think a lot of us have been told that vulnerability is weakness, and it's quite the contrary. There are people out there who are not going to persecute you for being vulnerable. It actually shows that you're willing to deal with the things in your life that are causing you problems and troubles. And there are people like me out there who will meet you where you're at and actually work with you and have conversations with you about how you can work through the things in your life that may be a hindrance. I think everybody wants to have a better relationship. They want to do better in business. They want to have better outcomes in life. And I think it starts with us cultivating some self-awareness and getting our mind states in order. Once again, I do these videos out of love, man, because I love my people and I want to see them do great things. With that being said, once again, thank you for liking and subscribing to the videos. It's your boy T-Rob, and this is the Unapologetic Perspective. An important topic to me has been something that I've been focused on within the last couple of months as I've started to curate what I watch on YouTube and what I consume on the internet and in my all-around world is information. The information that comes into you every day and what you consume, and how important it is to be mindful of what it is that you take in to your life, into your mind, the people who you are around. All of these things are important because they are going to shape the way that you look at the world, and ultimately they will shape your outcomes. So I think that it's very careful that you be careful about what it is that you consume on a day-to-day basis. A lot of stuff is out here for entertainment, but is it really good for you? Some of the stuff that we see, some of the stuff that is possibly the main thing that's on our algorithm when we go on Instagram and YouTube and all of these other platforms, are these things that are cultivating a positive mind state. Once again, like I said, we all want better outcomes in our life, but are we consuming things in our day-to-day life that are allowing us to cultivate a mind state that'll get us what it is that we want in life? If there's a question mark by that, then you might want to start consuming different content. One of the things that I used to do on a daily basis when I woke up was I turned the news on. It was the first thing that I did in the morning. I would hop out of bed, I'd go straight to YouTube, and I'd turn on my favorite YouTube correspondence show about the news and what's going on in the world. And the entire day, I found myself talking about what was going on in the world and things that I couldn't control. It became almost like my main conversation point every time I was talking to somebody. After a while, I realized that I became a little bit stressed about these things because these were things that I could not control. I couldn't control what was going on in government. I couldn't control what was going on in the Middle East. I couldn't control what was going on in Africa. I couldn't control what was going on all around the world. And yet I was consuming this content all day, every day, and letting this stuff into my life without consciously understanding what it was doing to me and how it was shaping my ideas and how it was shaping me and how it was possibly causing me a great deal of stress over things that I could not control. I ended up going on vacation with my wife to go see my family in New York. And when I came back, I sat down with myself and I really started to think about what it was that I wanted to do. One day, a video popped up on my algorithm about Buddhism. I clicked on it and I started to listen. And it got into great detail about how the things that you feed your mind are what are ultimately gonna determine your outcomes in life. It talked about focusing on putting in things that healed you, putting in things that made you think more about what it is that you wanted for yourself, letting go of things that you couldn't control, letting go of things that you had no control over the outcome whatsoever. And I sat with that. The more that I consumed this content, the more I got interested in the idea of focusing solely on me and what it was that I wanted. As I consumed more and more of this content, I realized that my life was changing in a short amount of time. Within the span of about a month and a half, I had changed the way I thought about a lot of different things. My life became a lot less stressful. I became a lot more mindful. I started meditating. I started sitting my phone down in the morning. I gave myself a rule. I told myself I would not pick my phone up for an hour after waking up. I would meditate in the morning. I would tell myself affirming things and send love out into the universe for myself, and then I would start my day. So even if I had a work text, if I had a message from a customer, if I had a meeting to go to, I did these things regardless, and I made everything else wait. This took the stress off of me in so many different ways you couldn't even imagine. A big one was I stopped having a lot of pressure on myself in regards to work. I started letting things be what they were supposed to be, and I stopped having hypertension, over the things that I couldn't control. As I relaxed into my situation, I realized that I was putting a great deal of pressure on myself, and it was only my fault, and I was the only one to blame. I started doing other things like I shut my Instagram off. When I did that, I realized that I was able to focus myself in on one thing. Unfortunately, Instagram will have you not being very focused because you're scrolling through content 24/7, which tends to mess up your brain's ability to process information and hold on to it when you're constantly going through videos. So once I put Instagram down, I noticed that my focus came back into alignment. Another thing that I started to do was at the end of the day, I would cut the TV off. I wouldn't fall asleep with it on. I would put on some noise in the background, maybe a YouTube video or something that would allow me to sleep. But I would cut the TV off so it wasn't running. This helped me to sleep better. So doing these small things allowed me to curate my life in the way that I wanted it to be. It's helped me out in business. It's helped me out in my personal relationship. It's helped me out in a number of ways that I couldn't even imagine when I started the process. Now, I say all of that to say, oftentimes we consume things that are not in our best interests. Yes, entertaining, but how often are you listening to things that are negative? Are you listening to things that don't feed your soul? Are you listening to things that promote violence? Are you listening to things that promote negativity? And then you're wanting outcomes in life that are the opposite of the things that you're feeding your brain on a daily basis. You see, two things that are in the negative of one another cannot exist in rhythm. You cannot consume negativity and expect positivity in your life. You're going to have to curate your life in a way that you say that you want things to be. If you want your life to be positive, you're going to have to listen to positive things. Notice over time, and if you do this, you'll notice over time that you'll actually get the outcomes that you want in life. This is the reason why people do vision boards. This is the reason why people sit down and they journal. This is the reason why people do a number of things to cultivate their mind state. Oftentimes we get so caught up in life that we forget that there are tools that you can use that'll help you be mindful. The world that you want, the life that you want, starts with inside of you. It starts in your mind. It starts in your head. What you tell yourself, you get. What you believe, you become. What you practice, you furthermore become. Another thing is also speaking to yourself in a positive way. You can speak death into existence as well as life. You can speak peace into existence as well as hardship, depression, and strife. So if you're telling yourself, hey, my life is depressing, things around me are bad, things around me aren't good, that's what your life is going to be. But if you're telling yourself, things around me are good, yeah, this is a hardship right now, but I'll get past it. This is momentary. If I'm going through something, this is a momentary struggle. It will get better. You'll also get that. I come to you all with these videos because I've been in this place, in many different places in my life, where I can be the person to give this kind of information to you, because I struggled with so many different things in my life that I know that the power of the mind is important. And the only reason I'm sitting here right now in front of you, able to put these videos out, is because I curated the way that I thought. I actually told myself the things in life that I went through, I would get through and life would get better. And it did. So now it's second nature for me. And whatever I decide to do, I'm actually able to do it. I'm capable of doing it because I've told myself I could do anything that I want to do. Some useful tools. Challenge yourself to do one thing that's outside of the box in life. A lot of times fear is tied to our inability to change things in our environment or to do anything different that's contrary to what we've been doing. Challenge yourself to do one small thing in life that will send you in another direction. It doesn't have to be a big thing. Wow. Something small. Maybe you don't get up in the morning and make your bed. Before you get up in the morning, make your bed. Start there. Maybe you get up and you pick your phone up and you start to scroll right away. Decide not to pick your phone up in the morning, maybe for the first 10 minutes. Sit quietly with yourself, meditate, go through your thoughts before you pick your phone up and before you start your day. Whatever it may be, do something different when you wake up in the morning and see if it helps you. Do it for a month. For those who don't have that much faith, maybe do it for 2 weeks and see where you're at. If you notice a difference in your life based on that small change, then move on to something bigger or extend that period of time on the one thing that you've chosen to do and see what your outcomes are. There's a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. In this book, he says true transformation comes from small daily 1% improvements rather than massive one-time changes. The core premise is that you do not rise to the level of your goals, but rather fall to the level of your systems. Habits are described as the compound interest of self-improvement. That means that you don't strive to do one thing in a short amount of time great. You take small steps towards getting what it is that you want in your life. If you want to be a ball player, if you want to be better at dribbling, you dribble for 5 minutes a day. Over time, you'll see an improvement. You don't need to be in the gym for 5 hours to get there. 5 minutes a day of doing what it is that you want to do to get towards your goal will get you to where you need to be. Likewise, you're going to have to give something up to get something else. And that's where changing the information that you consume comes in. If the information that you consume is not positive and leading you towards your goals, then you need to do something different. You need to start consuming different information. You may enjoy the shade room, you may enjoy gossip or whatever column it is that talks about the gossip of other people's lives, but really, how is that improving your life? How is paying attention to other people's situations and drama and things like that improving you? A lot of times this is just noise and distractions from what it is that you need to be doing to improve your life. The hard work requires that you focus 100% on yourself. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be able to do this immediately, but you have to start giving yourself the time that you need to cultivate the life that you want. If your energy is scattered out there to the universe and focused on everybody else's situations, you're not going to get to where it is that you want to be. I remember I was in a relationship with a young lady who, every time I looked up, I found myself fixing her situations. I would fix everything that was going on with her. She would tell me about it. Immediately, I would go into action to find a solution to whatever problem that she had. One day, I realized that I had still not done a great deal of things that I needed to do to make my life better. Shit, at the time, I didn't even have a driver's license. And the realization hit me that I had been distracted with fixing her life, and I had not gotten around to the things that, as an adult, I should have had for my own life. I think a key part of this was that it was easier for me to focus on fixing her than it was to focus on fixing me. Because if she lost, I could put that blame back on her. But if I had to focus on fixing my life, there was nobody to blame but me. So it was much easier to be a part of changing what she had going on than it was to change my own situation. Once this reality hit me, I had to get into action, and I had to start telling her no, that she had to fix her own thing. And most of the time, she wasn't even asking me to fix her circumstances. It was just me deciding to pick that ball up and run with it. Once again, I had to deal with the hard work of dealing with me and getting myself in order. And that was a hard pill to swallow. But the first step was actually realizing that I had to focus on me and not her, and actually be honest with myself. Why am I focusing on this woman's problems when I don't have my own problems to solve? Since then, I've seen it time and time and time again. It's easy to get distracted with other people's lives, but we all have things that we could be doing for ourselves to further our lives in the way that we want them to be, right? Yet and still, we often get caught up in everybody else's situations. We're online judging situations that have nothing to do with us. We're dealing with our family's problems and things like that, and they ultimately don't have anything to do with us. I had a conversation with a loved one today. She was upset with a family member, and she felt drained by a situation that had happened with them. And I just told her, I said, we don't have to take on the problems of other people that are going to drain us and leave us feeling empty. Not only empty, we may even feel resentful of them for having taken on the situation that drained us when we put ourselves in that situation. It's okay to tell people no. It's okay to feel like you don't have to take on everybody else's responsibilities. It's okay to focus on yourself. It's okay to be selfish. Self-care, selfish, all of those words, they have a negative connotation. But at the end of the day, how can you fill somebody else's glass up when your glass is empty? If you're going to give back to people, you want to give back to people from a place of fullness. So first you have to fill yourself up before you give back to anybody. Giving from a place of emptiness will only leave you in a place where you feel resentful of the people that you've helped. I'm going to say that again. Giving from a place of emptiness will only leave you resentful of the people that you helped. And that's not a good thing for you or them. Think about that. So before you go to take on somebody else's challenges, you need to think about what it is that you need to do for you first. Focus there first. And then if you have anything left over, you can give it to somebody else. A rich man can't give a poor man anything. And that's not just monetarily. That's in spirit, that's in mind, that's in body. Cultivate a world for yourself and start by consuming things that feed you spiritually. If you're listening to this video, you're in the right place, because that's what I aim to do with the content I create, is cultivate mindfulness with people. I genuinely love you all and want to see you all do better. I'm happy when I see my people winning, growing, and trying things that they've never tried before. It brings a big smile to my face. But I'm at a place where I can give from a place of fullness in my life and not from emptiness. Please like and subscribe. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more content like this. We're only going to get better. We're only going to talk about things that will help you out in life. We're only going to get more mindful as we go along, and we're going to grow together. I love you all. It's your boy T Rob, and this is the Unapologetic Perspective. See you on the next video.